Okay, if you remember the last session we closed off with this particular file. And if you look at the name of this file, it is bankloan_cs.saf. Now this is a sample data file which already exists in the package that you have. Now let me take you to a blank screen and show you what happens when you actually open SPSS. Now when you open SPSS, basically this is what happens. You've got an untitled screen. Yep, this is what you get. Now remember, this is the actual data file that we created, gender and year of birth, in the previous session. Now if I go to, what I want to do is I want to show you how to open a sample data. So you go to open and go to data file. Alright, on data file go to programs. That means you go to the C directory and go to program files, and these are program files here. Double click on that, and then you go to a file called IBM. Right, now you see IBM is here. Alright, and we'll just double click on IBM, and it's got SPSS again, so you just double click on it again. Then you got statistics, right? And then it's got 19, that's the version you have. And then you have something called sample files. This is what I want you to look at. Just click on sample files and double click on it again, and it appears English. Alright, so now when you go to English, you click on English and it shows you all the sample files. And the sample file that we were working with was this. Alright, I can open any other file here. I can also even go to some file called accidents, alright, and open it up. I'll just go. Alright, this is how accident file looks like. But we don't need to use accident file. What the file we need to use is actually SPSS, which is bank loan stuff. Alright, so I'll show you the file that we need to open. I'll go to data again. Alright, and it's sitting here. This is the file we need to open. What we need to open is this file. Alright, and just go open. Alright, it says another here because we are using it again. Alright, we don't mind, we'll just ask it to open again. Now that's the same file. So now what is the purpose of showing you this file? The purpose of showing you this file is, this is a typical data view. Now assuming that you have actually got all the questionnaires filled out and you got the respondents to actually do each question. And again, if you look at this picture, the rows here are for each respondent's questionnaire. So respondent 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So as you get the first questionnaire, you look at question 1. So happens in this case it was branch, and this is the customer number and all the rest. Now this is a data file, and let me show you the variable view on how these files were created. So if you need to know a bit more on how variables are created, these are the variables. Now if you look at these, the area that I want you to understand is measurement scales. Now measurement scales that we have learned in our earlier session on questionnaire design was about, basically we had nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio. Now interval and ratio are actually considered as scale in this particular software, and of course you got ordinal or nominal. And that's something I want you to understand. So each time you create a variable, look at the question and see which scale will it be under, and that's all you need to fill out. So the columns you need to fill out is the measurement scale, the values if there are any, but it's happened here. If you don't have particular values, then if they're just going to fill in whatever numbers, then let them be empty. And then the label is the actual questionnaire in detail. So I just wanted to pause here and maybe show you in the next session how you can actually do some simple data analysis. Alright, but prior to that, I just want to show you that same data file that you created or we created together in terms of the gender and year of birth. Now what I would like you to do now as an exercise, go to variable view, take the sample questionnaire that we talked about here. Alright, look at each question. Question number 1, number 2 we have done. Number 3, how do we create this? All right, what do? We go to the actual variable view. All right, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's the output file. We go to variable view here. All right, and we create the next variable. Now, how can we name this variable? This is general purpose of travel. So what we can do is maybe we call that in short form in terms of travel, or TRAVPURP. So that's what I'm going to TRAVPURP. So it's travel purpose in short. And again, I'll just move the arrow. Now what we need to do here, if you look at it, we got to type the question here, and the question is here. What's the question here? What's your purpose of travel? This is the variable we created. So what I did was I actually typed out the whole question here again in terms of what is the purpose of your travel. Alright, now if you notice in the questionnaire, a person has actually 3 possible options. One is leisure, the other is professional or business, and the third is family. So what is the purpose of this? This is where we need to actually fill out in the values column. We look at the values here. We go to the values column and we put there, we are telling the computer 1 is leisure, then we go add, just like how we did the others. 2 is professional or business, so we can put there PROF/BUS, and 3 is family. So what are we doing here? We are actually creating variables and giving values, so the computer will know if I put number 1, then it is basically leisure. 2 is, because the computer knows only in the data file. If I look at the data view here, the computer can only recognize numbers of 0 and 1, or sorry, 0, 1, 2, and it's all very much just numerical. Now if I go to this variable view again, I'm looking at the last variable created. Now if you look at it here, what scale is this variable? This scale is very much, because if you look at it from your scales, this is nominal scale, because I can only choose one item, and it is basically very much, this is the only item that I can choose. So there's no, it's mutually exclusive. That means we can't take anything else. So I just want to pause here and maybe show you a few things in the next exercise. Hope this particular exercise has been useful to you. All the best.